Welcome to Sultai Hydroid Krasis. Maybe you enjoy drawing cards. Maybe you enjoy gaining life. Maybe you just really enjoy jellyfish. Well, this is the deck for you, so stick around. Hope you're excited. But yes, we've got Jellyfish Hydro Beast, which is just awesome, and then playing Sultai, which is my favorite color set. But let's jump into the deck tech real quick, kind of give you a quick rundown of what the deck's going to do, and then we'll jump right into that gameplay. So, the absolute core of the deck is going to be getting down Hydroid Krasis for just some sort of, X is 4, X is 5, X is 6. We want to be able to gain that life, draw some cards, and then represent some sort of threat on the battlefield. One of the ways that we can really make Krasis really good is by having Hadana's Climb on the battlefield. At the beginning of combat, we're going to be able to put a +1 counter on target creature. Then if it has 3 or more counters, it's going to flip, and once it does flip, that does allow us to, it kind of basically puts us in this position to, once we get down Hydro Krasis, let's say it's a 4-4 or a 5-5, once we get it to flip into a land, we can use that activated ability to turn Hydro Krasis into some sort of huge, like 10-10, 12-12 creature, and then hopefully that's going to be enough for us to close the game out. Now, we do have a few other creatures in the deck we can use this activated ability with, but for the most part, once you have a Krasis that has trample and flying, you can go for the activated ability, and that is it already has flying, but yeah, typically that's more than enough to seal the deal once it's a 12-12 or a 14-14, and it just feels really good too. Now, outside of the actual Sultai Krasis package we're running in here, we are running an Explore package in here. There is a lot of mono red in Arena right now, so you're seeing a lot of life loss really quick. Basically, Merfolk, Branchwalker, and Jadelight Ranger, they're going to allow us to kind of dig a little bit deeper into our library. Then once we get Walker, Texas, Wild Growth Ranger onto the battlefield, whatever it explores, we get to put a +1 count on it, which does work out with Honda's Climb, and we also get to gain 3 life, so that's another kind of way for us to just kind of filter through our library. These will be taking the place of like what normally would be cantrips. We're going to be using the Explore ability as our cantrip instead of actual spells. Then at the same time, we get to build up a little bit of a board state and gain a little bit of life, and hopefully allow us to stabilize off of that. Now, that's the blue-green to the deck. Why are we splashing black? Because we want to run a ton of removal in here. Running Assassin's Trophy, we're running Vraska's Contempt in here. We're also running Find and Finality. With Assassin's Trophy and Vraska's Contempt, our main goal is to make sure that we can clear the way for Krasis to swing in for a ton of damage. Vraska's Contempt is going to allow us to make sure we keep Teferi in check, and then Assassin's Trophy is going to allow us to basically just get rid of anything that's in our way. Now with Find and Finality, this is going to be the board wipe for the actual deck itself. We get to put 2 +1 counters on a creature, then all other creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. That actually does work out. Let's say that we end up tapping out for a Krasis that has 4 counters on it. We put those 2 +1 counters on it, then we wipe the entire board for -4/-4. You've got a clear way to swing in with that flying jellyfish. Or let's say that we've had to cast some sort of value creature earlier in the game. They've gotten rid of our Lano War Elves. They got rid of one of our Krasis. We can use the Find part of the card to return those creatures out of the graveyard back into our hand. But it also allows us to kind of restabilize by bringing, simply being able to recast another Krasis and draw a ton of cards is a great way to kind of further yourself into that late game, pushing past that early aggro. And last but not least, we kind of have the mid-range stuff of the deck. That's going to be Vivian Reed and Carnage Tyrant. Carnage Tyrant is just a wonderful threat to get down. It's going to be really hard for your opponent to deal with it, and also works out really well with the Climb card. We can give it, turning Carnage Tyrant into a 7/6 into a 14/13 flyer, or a 14/12 flyer. That's pretty good. And plus Carnage Tyrant, he loves to fly. He's really happy about that. And Vivian Reed, let's say that we've rolled out Lano War Elves. We've gotten a lot of our early creatures, our Explore packages out. They've dealt with all that threat. Once we get down Vivian Reed, that's going to be the perfect option for us to kind of clean up in our mid-range threat. We can get her down, use that +1 ability, start finding another creature or a land. Let's say that we do have a jellyfish on the battlefield when we start swinging in. We can use that -3 ability to get rid of any sort of flying creature. Let's say they have some sort of problematic enchantment or artifact on the battlefield. Long story short, this is exactly what you need to be doing in this deck. Roll out a bunch of your early threats, either gain some advantage from having those threats on the battlefield, or your opponent deals with it. Then you get down Vivian Reed and start just outpacing your opponent by getting stuff onto the battlefield. But that is going to be it for the deck tech. I have some awesome gameplay video, so stick around. Welcome to Sultai Krasis. Hope you're excited to tap out and draw a bunch of cards and get a big old jellyfish on the battlefield. As far as opening hand goes, we've got Watery Grave, Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, I like this. We'll keep on this one. We've got, we can lead off with Lano War Elves. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what this deck wants to do. But yes, welcome to some Sultai Krasis. This is, has really gotten me excited about Standard. So we're going to go and pay 2 life, Shocking Overgrown Tomb. There we go. Let's get down Lana War Elves. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yeah, so, I didn't really record a lot of Commander Standard content over the years. In fact, it's basically just 0. Let's see. Do we want to go for... We can get down to the Merfolk Branchwalker. And since we're playing against black, I think we might want to go ahead and shock this one in. Yeah, let's go for it. So let's go and shock in Breeding Pool. We're going to pay 2 life. Let's go for the Incubation. Let's tap down Lana War Elves off this Incubation. Look at the top 5 cards of our library, see if we can't grab something. Okay, that's fine. Put those on the bottom. Let's go for the Merfolk Branchwalker. Get that down. And then we're going to get the Explorer ability. Yes, we'll put that on top. And then pass it back over to our opponent. But yes, I've never really done Standard content. When I got into Magic, that's all I played when I first got into Magic. And then I kind of graduated on to Modern and to Commander. But this environment's a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying it. Let's get down Wild Growth Walker. And now with these walking, it's just a straight up 2/2. So yeah, let's just go and swing it with the Merfolk Branchwalker. With this deck, we can dig really deep into our library really quick. So, trading with a Walking Corpse Zombie is not too bad. And do we want to shock in Water Your Grave to leave up Assassin's Trophy? Yeah, I think we're okay with that. I don't mind doing that. So we're going to go shock in Water Your Grave, put us down to 14. And then we'll pass the turn. That will kind of keep the way clear if we want to end up going for Assassin's Trophy. Because if we end up getting like a clock coming across with Lana War Elves and Wild Growth Walker, I will certainly take it. Opponent's going to get down Death Baron. Let's wait until they're in step, actually. And then we're going to go for Assassin's Trophy on Death Baron. That way we can just kind of clear the way. If we can somehow get some sort of Explorer going for Wild Growth Walker, we'll be able to negate some of this life loss that we're taking off some of our shock lands, and at the same time kind of pump them up. So there we go. Jadelight Ranger, just in time. Let's get down Jadelight Ranger, get that double Explorer build, and you can see how good it's going to work with Walker. Do we want to put that in the... Yeah, because we do have double black. We're going to put that on top. That's going to be double Explore. We're going to gain 3 life. And basically, we've negated all of those shock lands that we put in. So let's swing it with the entire crew. That will be 4. It's going to put them down to 16. And then we have Vraska's Contempt on top of our library, so we can kind of clear the way on whatever sort of creature they decide to get down. Then we also have Super Secret backup Vraska's Contempt in our hand. So that way we can at least get rid of Liliana. All right, and that's good. They ended up going for the +1, so this is going to work out perfectly. Vraska's Contempt. Let's go ahead, before they have an opportunity to go for it, so we're going to go and go for Vraska's Contempt on Liliana, and that also allows us to gain a little bit of extra life, so yeah, I like it. Let's go and swing into the attack zone. That's going to be 7. Let's put them down to 11. And then pass the turn back over there. But yeah, outside of this deck, it's one of my favorite colors is Sultai. So whenever I saw Hydroid Krasis get released for the new set, and I saw stuff on Twitter about people saying, hey, this new Krasis deck's really cool. It works out really good in a Sultai shell. And I was like, okay, let's give this a shot. And so here I am. Kind of played it last weekend, and I've been slowly working on building up some of my arena overlay stuff, basically. Now, since we are at 20, and we're basically going to negate this... breeding pool. Let's go and shock this one in. We're going to pay 2 life because I don't mind getting in with a little bit of extra damage with Lana War Elf. So we're going to go and exile second Liliana. Some bad luck for our opponent. I'm going to be able to swing across for 8 and put them down to 3. Let's go and swing it with the entire crew. There we go. I'll be swinging it for 8, and then we'll see if they have some sort of spot removal. Cast down, yeah, that is pretty par for the course. So we're going to get in for 5, and at least we do have technically it's a 2-turn clock now with us sitting at 5 damage on the battlefield. But hopefully we can draw into Krasis or something like that. And then we do have Incubation to dig a little bit deeper into our library. But yeah, with the arena content, I'm going to definitely be doing more arena content. As much as I love Commander content, it's getting a little bit harder to... unfortunately, record Commander content in the mornings, and I do a lot of my recording in the mornings. And so... just a little bit of a downside, unfortunately, to a lot of the people shifting back over to Arena. Kind of one of those is what it is. So if we swing in with Jadelight Ranger, that's going to get the Stitcher Supply. That's going to add some more creatures into their graveyard, and then it will definitely give them a Midnight Reaper card. Man, they're sitting at 1 card in the hand, and we can survive Midnight Reaper swinging in. So I think no attack is fine. I mean, because we're going to mill Stitcher Supplier. They're going to get the 3 cards. They've got a lot of action with Liliana. Well, actually, yeah, I don't mind that, because then it makes it a little bit better for... Yeah, let's go and do that. Let's go and push in with that Jadelight Ranger. Probably going to see the... Well, actually, if they go for Midnight Reaper, that's fine, too, because we definitely want to get rid of that card draw ability from our opponent. That's a perfect opportunity for that. But yeah, so, it's getting a little bit harder to record Commander in the mornings, and I enjoyed Standard the time that I played it. It's just kind of one of those, as you get into a format, you're like, oh, okay, well, what else is out there? And then it feels kind of good to kind of come back to Ravnica, because I started and returned to Ravnica, and so to kind of get back into the Standard scene with the newest Ravnica set feels pretty good. Let's lead off with Wild Growth Walker. And... and then we're gonna go. I'm just gonna. I don't know what. Like, so the way my brain operates, like when I see certain things, like with Wild Growth Walker, for some reason my head always goes to Walker Texas Ranger, and it just really makes me laugh. So I always imagine the Wild Growth as like a little cowboy hat or something. All right, so we've got the zombie beat sticks going on. So let's get down Watery Grave. Not going to pay 2 live, have it enter the battlefield tapped. And at this point right now, if we do draw into Hydroid Krasis, there's 4 of them in the deck. We haven't seen them yet. If we do draw into those, we can at least cash in a little bit of extra card draw and a little bit of extra life gain. And with our opponent going for the Eldest Reborn, they're going to bring back Liliana. And let's see what they cast out of the... Oh, look at that. They went for the -3 cast zombie cards from your graveyard. That is... That's pretty brutal. Let's see. So they did have Josu Vest. They definitely did not have enough for the kicker cost off of Josu Vest. They're definitely going to get down Death Baron. Now, here's the downside. We've got... we do have a board wipe, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we are looking at... where's that double? Yeah, Find and Finality. It's the back end of that card. Hydroid Krasis. Well, I mean, that'll work, because the next turn is going to be 7... That's going to be 9. That's going to be 12. It'll push down to 1, and we can just tap out for Hydroid Krasis. Yeah, I like that. All right. So we're going to have Hydroid Krasis before. This is pretty much what the deck wants to do, Top decking a Krasis is always nice. But being able to just cash in some more card draw, get down a 4/4 flyer, and kind of go from there, that's pretty good. And they're going to go for some more milling with Liliana. But at least next turn, we do have a pretty good way to kind of gain a little bit more life and kind of stop some of this life loss from our opponent. We go for Wild Growth Walker, and then we get down Jadelight Ranger. That's going to be the double Explorer. And that's going to be basically just 6 life with the Walker Texas Ranger Elemental guy over there. So, all right. Let's get to see if our whole crew's going to swing in. I think at this point, yeah, they're not going to be swinging with Death Baron. And this is going to be a Plague Rite. It's going to be a Death Touch for a 3/2. Whenever it becomes blocked, each creature blocking gets -1/-1. Josu Fest is not going to really do much, and they did not swing him with Death Baron. I guess, man, do we want to trade with the Plague Rite just to get into the graveyard? They can basically just recast it. We're taking 11. Yeah, I guess we just still go ahead and trade with... Well, actually, no. No blocks. That's going to be 10. It's going to put us down to 13. We gain 6. 2 creatures. Yeah, but no blocks. Maybe we can swing, because they have no option in the air. They have to have some sort of removal from Krasis. And with us gaining a lot of life off this, maybe we get even more lucky and gain a little bit more life. So, kind of going to be a little bit more of a risky play. If our opponent does have spot removal, they've got it. Because... I have to go for the -2. Lano War Elves. Okay, not exactly what we wanted to see, but let's go and swing into the, let's go to the combat zone. And I think at this point they've got a pretty good option of creatures, so let's go and push in with Hydroid Krasis at our opponent. Oh, and they do Mausoleum Secrets. Man, this is a pretty sweet build from our opponent. I was like, at the beginning of the video, I was like, okay, we're going to lead off with whatever that card was, that Walking Core. Maybe we're just playing to get some weird... little zombie deck. No, this is a... we're getting owned by Mausoleum Secrets. I love it. Let's get down Wild Growth Walker first, because the creature explores. Yeah, we're going to gain that 3 life. But I think at this point, opponent might get it on this one. Oh no, dang it. The way And most of we always typically use the auto tapper on here, and the way it just auto tap now. Well, either way, we would have been no. They tapped down that 4, so gotta be a little bit more careful. But either way, it's kind of not looking so hot for us, to be perfectly honest. Let's get down Swamp, and then we're simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn. So we go Wild Growth Walker on Josu Vest. We can trade with the Stitcher Supply, and then we'll see if there's anything we can do about it, but it's not... if you're keeping score at home, it's not looking so hot. So we're going to sacrifice Jade Light Ranger. Yeah, with that, the Auto Tapper on Arena, it actually works out really well, but there's just... You have to make sure you look at your hand and that it's tapping the correct mana. Like, I would say, like... 95% of the time, the auto tapper on Arena works out perfectly to where it kind of anticipates everything in your hand. But in this particular case, we didn't have enough green mana for a lot of War Elves. But that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Okay, opponent's going to go for the Liliana activation. This was a well-earned game by our opponent, so I'll definitely... we'll have to take it on this one. Good game to our opponent, and we are in the constructed queue, so I will... we'll get this one shipped over to Game 2, and I'll see you there here in a little bit. All right, bye. Welcome back to Game 2. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got doubles. Yeah, this is not super wild. Let's go and mulligan on this one. And Watery Grave. Man, if we have a land on top, I like this hand. Yeah, this is a little bit of a risky hand. After we just got beat by zombies so bad, I'm going to keep on this one. I don't want to... Yes, 100%. Overgrown Tomb on top. There we go. All right, that's what we wanted to see. So hopefully we can get lucky with some of this... our Explorer creatures. So let's go and lead off with Overgrown Tomb, have it enter the battlefield tapped, and then depending on what we draw into, we'll at least shock in Watery Grave next turn, and then go for some of these Explorer. Ooh, are we playing against Rat Colony? The funny thing to me about this deck is that we're going to go ahead and pay 2 life, is that I played it last weekend, and this deck was like awesome. Like I had some really good matches, really good. Let's go and put that, actually, do we want to try to hit the land? Yeah, I think we're okay. Well, I want to try to hit the land on this one, so we're going to go and put that in the graveyard. But ended up with some really good matches when I was playtesting the deck, and now that I've gone to record, we run into mono black zombies, and we're hitting Rat Colony. Yeah, let's go. We need to make sure we exterminate the rats as they keep swinging in, so we're just basically going to keep trading at this point right now. And we draw into Forest. Yeah, let's go for the Merfolk Branchwalker. Yeah, I don't mind that. All right, we're going to get the Explorer ability. See if we can't hit maybe another tap land or a Vraska's Contempt. And we are sitting at double black sources. Yeah, let's go and put that on top. I'm okay with that. Let's get down Forest, and then we'll go and pass the turn. So as long as we can basically just keep trading with these rats, we're going to do okay. And that's just kind of the game plan right now, because eventually we're going to run out of creatures, and they're going to have a ton of rat creatures. And about our only way to kind of stabilize in some form or fashion is just to kind of keep away those rats. If you don't keep the rats down, it's kind of like whack-a-mole at the local arcade game. If you don't keep those the moles down, then they just eventually just barrel roll into a mere bathysphere full of rats. So that's what we're going to try to do. But yeah, outside of the deck, there's a lot of fun stuff in here. We've got Frilled Mystic. With the incubation, that's another way for us to kind of dig a little bit deeper into our library. Yeah, let's go Jade Light Ranger, because we need to, like I mentioned, we haven't hit our land drops. So let's get down Jade Light Ranger. There we go. Oh, double lands. That's great. Now, since we don't have anything for 1, let's go and lead off with Overgrown Tomb. We're going to have it enter the battlefield tapped, and then we'll get to put an additional +1 counter on Jade Light Ranger, and then next turn we'll be able to get down Woodland Cemetery. Now, thankfully, with us being able to kind of get down Jade Light Ranger, we ripped into 2 lands. It's going to allow us to start making our land drops. We do need to find 1 more blue source for Frilled Mystic, and let's go... Yeah, like I mentioned, we need to keep up with these rats, so we're going to start trading with these rats. And eventually we're going to get down a Hydroid Krasis that can kind of maybe stabilize from that. Let's get down Woodland Cemetery. And I think we kind of go Vivian Reed on that Experimental Frenzy. Because basically, Experimental Frenzy, look at the top card of your library, you can play it, and that's going to be a ton of rats, and man, we just don't want that. So let's go for Vivian Reed. It also kind of puts us in another position to where we can take care of that experimental frenzy. It also puts us in a position to where maybe that rat colony is going to swing in at Vivian Reed to take care of her. Then that allows us to maybe kind of stabilize with Carnage Tyrant or something like Hydroid Krasis. We are running Climb in here, which is a really fun card. I love this card. At the beginning of combat, put a +1 counter. Then if it has 3 more counters, it flips. And you can go for that activated ability, giving Carnage Tyrant double its power to swing in with flying. Oh, that's some good magic right there. Okay, so let's go with the Vivian Reed. We're going to go for the +1 ability. Look for a creature or land. So they've got 3 rats on the battlefield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does allow us to get down Carnage Tyrant to trade, but we're sitting at 8. Frilled Mystic. We almost need to kind of go for a Hydroid Krasis. I think so. So we're going to go and grab Forest. So let's get down Forest. We'll get an additional +1 counter on Hydroid Krasis and allow us to gain just a little bit of extra life. And Hydroid's going to be 4. Yeah. All right, so it puts us back up to 10. We get a few more creatures to chump block. I'll be able to get a +1 counter. Let's get down Lana War Elves, because that will also allow us to get down an extra blocker for this rat colony. And then hopefully we can kind of start to kind of stabilize. I don't know why, it's just rat after rat after rat. It just always makes me laugh. All right, so we go for... Yeah, we're going to have to keep trading on this one. And that's the good thing, is that with these rats, with the Alana War Elf, with a well-timed elf knife, we can take care of these rats. So that is always good. Let's go for the +1 off of Vivian Reed. If we can hit another Krasis, that would be pretty good. Ooh, Wild Growth Walker. We have no Explore in our hand, though, at this point right now. You know, if creatures are coming cheap at this point right now, I think we might as well just go for Wild Growth Walker. Or 2-1 with... Yeah, let's grab Merfolk Branchwalker. We could go for Carnage Tyrant, but actually kind of... I just want to flood the board at this point right now. So let's go 1 green on Lana War Elves. And then we go for Merfolk Branchwalker, which is going to be double Explored. And does that leave us double blue, double green? Yeah, so we can flash in Frilled Mystic. So I kind of like this. We'll get the Explore going. And that'll be an additional land, which we have made the land drop for the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Not going to swing in, and we're going to slowly keep plussing up our Vivian Reed. Another rat colony. Let's go for the Frilled Mystic. Or Frilled Mystic, excuse me. We're going to go and counter rat colony. Yes. So we get rat extermination, and now we're finally getting to a point to where maybe we are. There we go. The rats. We've got the rats at bay. Let's go for Vivian Reed +1. And Jadelight Ranger. Yeah, we'll go and grab Jadelight Ranger because we already have a land in the hand. We just need to start gaining some life. And thankfully with Restless Contempt, we're going to keep that up too. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we just pass the turn and then slowly go for Frilled Mystic and Restless Contempt to kind of gain a little bit of extra life. We do need to make our land drop. No attack. And then once we can kind of tap out for... Enter the battlefield tap. Once we can kind of tap out for Carnage Tyrant, then we go for the Climb activated ability. That'll allow us to put some pretty good pressure on our opponent. So the opponent's going to go for Rat Colony again. Let's get 1 more Frilled Mystic. And at this point right now, if they get some sort of spot removal, they can definitely clear the way to swing in with the rat. So we're just kind of being a little bit more cautious on this one. Just really kind of build up this kind of wall of merfolk creatures and elves to deal some damage to our opponent. And do we want to go for Restless Contempt on Rat Colony? I feel a little bit safer doing that. Yeah, let's do. If we're going to go for Carnage Tyrant next turn, that's fine, because we're going to be able to exile Rat Colony. It's going to make it a 2-1. Basically, just kind of oh, and then we get paid off. Assassin's Trophy. Let's go for Vivian Reed. Go for the +1 ability. And then we do have Wild Growth Walker. Yeah, let's grab that. So at this point, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's going to be Carnage Tyrant. I think that's just enough to shock and then gain a little bit of extra life. So let's go Breeding Pool. We're going to pay 2 life. Let's go for Wild Growth Walker. Let's go for Jadelight Ranger. We're going to get the double Explorer, get that double life gain. And then we'll go and put that into the graveyard at this point right now. It's going to make it a 3-5, and then let's go for Carnage Tyrant. That'll be just enough. Okay. And I guess at this point, we can go ahead and All right, Poto's going to scoop it up on this one. There we go. We finally built up enough of a board state, so it feels good, you know? You can see where this deck, you know, we run into a couple card draw like that and allows us to kind of restabilize. Hitting that life gain is a really big important thing for this deck. You know, we've got a lot of shocks in here. We're paying a lot of life. Being able to kind of regain some of that paid life and get to a point where we can stabilize is always a good feeling. But I will see you in the next game. Welcome to Game 3. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got Watery Grave and Forest with Jade Light Rain. Yeah, Merfolk. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. Opponent's going to be on the play first, so I kind of like this this option. But yeah, so we just beat Rat Colony, and that felt good. We have nothing for 1, so let's go ahead and lead off with Breeding Pool. Since we do have a lot of double green, we're just going to have it enter the battlefield tapped, and we'll pass the turn back over to our opponent. But there's sometimes in Magic where you have those matches where it's just more of like a moral victory, like you just don't want to lose to, like, you know, if you're playing against oh, what is that deck? Glacial Fortress, okay. Against Lantern Control. If you're playing against Lantern Control, you don't want to lose to that. That's like the last thing you ever want to do. So when you beat Lantern, it's like a huge moral victory. Same thing with playing against Rat Colony. It's just a moral victory. You always want to win, but it feels even better being able to win like that. All right, so it looks like we're playing against kind of the mirror match. So a lot of the stuff that I've noticed in this particular arena standard mana, or at least the best of 1, is that there's a lot of Bant. You see a lot of Bant kind of turn stuff, and then sometimes you'll see a lot of Bant Krasis. So there's like Sultai Krasis and Bant Krasis. I think we want to trade with Lana War Elves. Yeah, that's fine. Get rid of that mana producing, and we'll allow them to get in for 2, but mainly we want to try to keep them off mana, especially since they've got double Lana War Elves. That's going to be pretty important for us. All right, Prime Speaker. Oh, yes, Prime Speaker Pod. This deck is, I've played against it. It's pretty real sometimes. So we've got double green. And I think we just straight up, if we need double black for Restless Intent, we need to start getting down some of our shock lands. So let's go and shock in Watery Grave. We're going to pay 2 life. Let's go for Jade Light Ranger. The only downside is we have no removal on our hand, and our opponent's going to be able to untap with an open Prime Speaker, which is not super wild. Let's go and put Wild Growth Walker into the graveyard because we want to dig for... Yeah, we want to try to see if we can't hit something a little bit better. So we're going to end up with the Jade Light Ranger for 4/3. And we'll see what sort of line of play they end up going for with the Prime Speaker activation. But she's a pretty cool card. Sacrifice another creature. Yeah, there we go. Militia Butte. You can see where this deck is just really... It has a ton of overlapping center. Oh, yeah. Get down the Biogenic Ooze. I was trying to remember what the big payoff card is, but they get down Biogenic Ooze. And then if you don't deal with it right then and there, if they get those +1 counters on each ooze that they control, it's just silly. So they go for the Prime Speaker activation. They're going to sacrifice a Bugler, end up with the Voice of... Man, I'm going to have to build this deck because this is... If you just untap with Prime Speaker active with an activated ability, it's pretty rough to bounce back from. Now, about the only way we can kind of really get back from this is if we end up hitting one of our board wipes, and that's going to be pretty far away. But I think at this point, we're pretty much going to have to... Because even if we hold on to Frilled Mystic, our opponents, basically, their game plan right now is just go for Prime Speaker activation, so we need to find some sort of removal. So we're going to get down Forest. We're going to go for Hydroid Krasis for 2. Not the best, but at this point, we got to dig, and that's going to be us playing to our out. So draw the Breeding Pool, and I guess at this point, we're just going to go no attacks, and hopefully we're not dead. But yeah, so they get down Voice of Plenty, then actually this turn they can sacrifice Voice of Plenty. That's going to allow them to get an extra copy of Biogenic Ooze. But at this point right now, they could just straight up go for Biogenic Ooze, and that's such a good interaction. Once they get down Voice of Plenty with an activated ability, it gives all of your creatures hexproof, and it's just hard to deal with her. Yeah, man, I've got to throw together this Prime Speaker deck. Sounds pretty cool. All right, so we're going to have Voice of Plenty swinging in as a 3/4, and we're completely tapped out, so our opponent probably doesn't really have to worry about any sort of shenanigans. Now, we'll probably end up trading with Merfolk Branchwalker. I mean, if we're playing to our outs, we might as well just leave Hydroid Krasis on the battlefield. So we'll just go and take this hit. And yeah, because, you know, maybe we can string together another Hydroid Krasis for a 2/2 or something like that. And they go for the activated ability to put a +1 counter on each of their creatures. So at this point right now, I don't think we can win. And we'll see what they know. If they go for the bio... Actually, what did they sacrifice? That was going to be Merfolk Branchwalker. Yeah, we got to do this. This is pretty cool. And this is one of the fun things about playing Standard again, is you get to see some really cool interactions. Like, look at that. That's pretty cool. All right, they're going to steal our Hydroid Krasis, and that's going to put us on Assassin's Trophy, which unfortunately doesn't do much. So we go Assassin's Trophy on Voice of Plenty, and then that leaves us finally open to deal with Prime Speaker Zagana. But I guess we can get down Merfolk Branchwalker. That's going to be another creature, and we can hope for like maybe a chump blocker. But at the worst case scenario, that's going to be 4 or 5 in the air. Yeah. So I guess at this point we'll just try to. Yeah. This is one of those times on Arena where you and then we need to have it enter the. Yeah, we'll just go and pay 2 live. We're gonna lose this one anyway. We're just gonna cast some spells to get a little bit of our ability going. So we're going to go for Assassin's Trophy, and then we'll get down Merfolk Branchwalker, but it's just going to be really hard for us to bounce back from this. They can basically swing it with the entire crew. All right, get down Branchwalker, get the Explorer ability going, and we're going to put that into the graveyard as we dig just a little bit deeper, and then no attacks from our opponent. So with that Assassin's Trophy, we could have waited until this turn, but we are playing against Bant. Typically, you don't see a lot of counter spells, but at least you just want to go ahead and take care of it while they don't have any access to blue mana. All right, opponent's going to go for Deputy of Detention. That's going to grab our Jade Light Ranger. She was speeding in the Merfolk zone, and that's going to be, yeah, it's definitely going to be lethal. But at least we'll still just go ahead and block with Deputy, block on Deputy with the Merfolk Branchwalker. There we go. Good game to our opponent. They're definitely going to take it on this one. You can definitely see how good Prime Speaker is in a deck like this. So, probably be seeing this in sometime in the near future, but I will catch you in the next game. Welcome to Game 4. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, I actually do like this. We've got triple Lana War Elves, and that's going to be a quick Hydroid Krasis. We're going to keep on this one. And unfortunately, we haven't really got off to that hot of a start. So I'm hoping with this this hand, we can get some stuff moving. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a ton of spot removal, and we can tap out for a really nice Hydroid Krasis and just have a lot of fun. That's what we're going for today. And opponent's going to go for Flower. Search your library for a basic forest or plains card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. It's a cool looking little Black Lotus right there. It's funny, you play a ton of Magic, and then sometimes you just like see a card for the first time, even though it's a new set. Like it's like I didn't recognize that art. Let's get down Woodland Cemetery. And oh, look at this turn. We've got Lana War Elves. We've got Lana War Elves, and then we've got Incubation to dig for another creature. Sign me up. Let's go for Incubation. Look at that card advantage. And then I guess at this point we go for Carnage Tyrant. Or we can go for another Hydroid Krasis, because we do have a... Yeah, let's go for Hydroid Krasis. I like drawing some cards. Carnage Tyrant might have been the better line of play to go for, but we're looking at basically a turn 3 Krasis for 4 next turn. I think that's pretty legit. Sounds like a plan. And we get ahead on lands for sure. So let's get down Harbor. Let's go for Hydroid Krasis. And we're going to make it 4 on this one. Oh, look at this. This is beautiful. Vivian Reed, Jade Light Ranger. It's going to put us back up to 22. And now we've got a really good threat in the air. We've got Hydroid Krasis. It does have flying and trample. It is sitting at a 4/4. And so that's going to allow us to, hopefully they don't get out anything with reach, and then we can put some good pressure on our opponent. Now, with them just basically just building the, might be playing against Bant, possibly, but this looks to be like just straight up Selesnya Explore. So if that's the case, if they want to start swinging in, they can certainly go for it. Let's go and push in with a Hydroid Krasis. Don't want to swing in with our Lana War Elves. They're on blocking duty. And yeah, let's just go for another Krasis. Yeah, because I'm perfectly fine with that. Next is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 2 more card draw, 2 more life gain, and another 4/4 flyer, which, yep, we'll take it. Now, as far as what we've got in our hand, we can actually end up with a pretty good turn for next turn. We can end up going for Vivian Reed if they do get down some sort of creature that does have flying that will allow us to deal with it. Another option that we can go for is getting down Wild Growth Walker, and that'll allow us to end up going for Jade Light Ranger and then potentially Jade Light Ranger, because that's going to be 5 Assassin's Trophy. Okay, that's actually a pretty good draw. Let's go and swing in with our Krasis, and there's nothing with the reach out there, correct? No, okay. So we're going to go and swing in with the double Krasis in the air. That's going to be 8. It's going to put them down to 11. And they've got Simic Growth Guardian. They can adapt to get another one. Explores. Yeah, I guess at this point, our best bet is to just kind of flood the board with some more creatures. So let's go for Wild Growth Walker. That's going to be Jade Knight Ranger with the double Explore. And so basically, we can compete with them on the ground. And oh, yeah, we'll put that on top. Yeah, I like that. And then we'll put that on top again. That's gonna be all right. Let's just scoop it up on that one. I don't blame them. But you do end up with some quick games like that. You can see how quick you can end up with a really nice board state, and especially if you just keep chaining together some of those Krasises and different things like that. So Krasi or Krasi, whatever the plural will be. But I will see. We're still sitting at 2 losses, so I will see you in the next game. Hopefully, we can keep this chain going. Welcome to Game 5. It was a quick little win last turn. Hopefully, we can recreate that. I certainly don't mind doing that. We've got Overgrowth Tomb, we've got Forest, we've got Lana War Elves, Wild Growth Walker. Yeah, I like this. We can lead off with Elves, Walker, and then into Jade Knight Ranger, and then hopefully we hit a blue source. We'll definitely keep on this one. Hopefully we're not playing against something too aggressive from our opponent. Let's get down Lana War Elves, and that's going to be an extra little ramp for us, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, we'll lead off with Wild Texas Ranger, Walker Texas Ranger, and then that'll allow us to set up a real nice Jade Knight Ranger. I don't know why, my brain's just weird sometimes, but yeah, I just kind of see him as a little hobo dude. Yeah, let's go for Wild Growth Walker. And since we have nothing else for 1 this turn, let's go and lead off with Overgrown Tomb. Have that enter the battlefield tapped, and we'll pass it back over to our opponent. So we do see a swap from our opponent and Diregraph Ghoul. So we might be running into another mono black zombie build. Now at this point, we'll go and take 2. I mean, we could block and stop the 2, but if they got some sort of creature gets -X, I want Jade Knight Ranger to stick. That's the important part. And they get down Graveyard Marshal. Okay, so we get down Woodland Cemetery. Yeah, and let's just go and start digging with Jade Knight Ranger. I think at this point, we just need to find a blue source that we can get down Climb. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I don't mind Carnage Tyrant. If we're playing against Mono Black, that's going to be a lot of spot removal. That's going to be definitely a good Dino King in the world of zombies. So let's go and put that on top. And then that'll still give us a little bit of extra life gain, make it a 3/5, and then we don't have to worry about... yeah, because we don't leave up the 3/5 to kind of stop any sort of zombies from our opponent. Now, if they have some sort of I gotcha removal spell, if they want to go for it, they can. But so we've got Carnage Tyrant on top of our library. We are sitting at 4 mana. All right, we'll be at 5 mana next turn once we get down Woodland Cemetery. I would really enjoy getting down Hadana's Climb. And keeping on theme with the Walker Texas Ranger, with Hadana's Climb, I always think of E Honda from Street Fighter. I don't know why, but that's what my brain associates Honda's Climb with. But there's so many times I want to call it E Honda. But yeah. All right, so opponent's going to go for Drill Bit. Reveal their hand, choose a non-land card from that. They will make us discard it. More than likely, we'll see Assassin's Trophy come down if they're really that worried about Climb. We can certainly see that get down. We're pretty far away from getting Climb going. We only have 2 creatures with 2+1 counters on it. So, yep, they end up going for Assassin's Trophy. I don't blame them. Now, let's see if that's going to be them swinging in or not. We can trade with the Diregraph Ghoul and Graveyard Marshal. All right, they're not. So, we do draw into that Carnage Tyrant. Let's get down Woodland Cemetery. And there's no creature cards in our opponent's graveyard. Do we want to start being a little aggressive on this one? So at this point, we swing it for 3. That's gonna, yeah, I think we're okay with this. I mean, we can make some pretty good trades. That does allow them to go for the activated ability with Graveyard Marshal to make a 2/2 zombie off this Diregraph Ghoul. But we're still going to be okay after this attack. So yeah, let's go and be aggressive, especially if we're going to be getting down Carnage Tyrant, keeping our fingers crossed that we do hit that next land. That'll put us at 5 lands and then extra land for Lana War Elf. So yeah, I don't mind going for this. That's going to be 7. And that'll be a pretty good chunk of life for our opponent just to take. So if not, we'll see some trades from our opponent. Let's go ahead and make sure that we want to take care of Graveyard Marshal first, because we don't get rid of that extra ability. 2 and 1, yes, that is exactly what we want to see. All right, so it's going to leave Diregraph Ghoul on the battlefield. It's simply just a 2/2. They get rid of that activated ability from Graveyard Marshal. We still have Jade Knight Ranger. And at this point, we're ahead on the life total race, so we can hopefully race our opponent a lot quicker, especially with Carnage Tyrant having that hexproof and trample. So that'll at least... ooh, We got Spawn of Mayhem coming down. Oh, look at that art. I love it. I do need to pick that one up. That's another card I haven't picked up yet. All right, we draw into Super Secret Carnage Tyrant. So that puts us at 5 total mana, and there's nothing we can do right now. And we're going to be taking some damage from Spawn of Mayhem. I almost want to add a Spawn of Mayhem to this deck. I think that would work out really well. Kind of like that. But yes, outside of what we've got going on, yeah, I guess we're just going past the turn. We can't cast anything. It's almost like, I think we just go and push them with J-Light Ranger. I mean, we can't block it, so if they want to trade with Spawn of Mayhem, that's fine. They do get a little bit of extra stuff into the graveyard with Stitcher Supplier, but I don't mind making this this trade. So we trade with J-Light Ranger. This can be 1 damage us, puts us down to 21. Yeah, about our only way out of this one. If we can just go double, Welcome to the Gun Show, Carnage Tyrant, that'll be another good way for us to maybe kind of outrace our opponent. But thankfully, with them getting down this demon, that's definitely, as you can tell, it's 15-15 all now. So not going to be not too good for us. Old Gutter Bones is going to come down, and then Diregraph Ghoul. So we're looking at some sort of mono black aggro deck, which is pretty cool. I like it. Now, Vivian Reed, that is pretty much exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to hit a land. If we don't hit the land, then we can deal with, yeah, let's do this. Let's go for the -3. Take care of the Spawn of Mayhem. Get out of here, partner. And we could swing in with J-Light Ranger. That puts them down to 11. But on the back end, they're going to hit us for 6. And at this point right now, we can just simply, in a world of 2/2s, the 4/3, she's definitely queen. So we're just going to go ahead and no attacks. And hopefully keep our fingers crossed that they don't rip into something really good. So we can at least hold them at bay. And then, once again, keep our fingers crossed that we run into a land. Worst case scenario, let's say they swing the entire crew at Vivian Reed. That's going to stop a combat step. We can at least trade with one of these creatures on the battlefield. And then if Vivian Reed does stick around, we can go for that +1 ability to kind of dig for a few more, dig for some land. So we're in a pretty good position. We either kind of fog out this combat step with Vivian Reed with her little bow and arrow, or if she does stick around, then we can dig for a land and get down Carnage Tyrant, and then hopefully kind of push past Spawn of Mayhem. But you can see how good Vivian Reed is. You know, that -3 destroy target artifact or enchantment or creature with flying. This is just wonderful. Okay, so we've got double Diregraph Ghouls. We still want to trade with one of these ghouls. We want to get it into the graveyard. Wait, yeah, because that is swinging. Yeah, they're both swinging in. Okay, yeah. We'll go and trade with one of these Diregraph Ghouls. Vivian Reed's still going to go away, but we want to make sure we can hopefully clean up some of these zombies. And once again, if they got some sort of spot removal spell to deal with it, J-Light Ranger, that's fine. All right, they gained a little bit extra life. Okay, so we don't, unfortunately, run into any sort of land again. Yeah, I guess we go for Incubation. We could go for Wild Growth Walker, but we really want to get down some land. We want to get down Carnage Tyrant, so we're going to go for Lano War Elves, and we'll still just no attacks from us, and we'll just go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. Next turn, we finally are looking at getting down Carnage Tyrant, and once again with Gutter Bones and Diregraph Ghoul, old Gutter Bones over there. I just love, you know, the reassembling skeletons of Magic always make me laugh, because if you really think about it, a skeleton doesn't really go away. And so I just love that Gutter Bones has just been around forever in Ravnica. I don't know, it just makes me really happy. They're like, yeah, that's old Gutter Bones over there. Let's go for Carnage Tyrant. Yeah, let's do that. And that's going to allow us to push in with J-Light Ranger. And once we finally do get down Carnage Tyrant, we can kind of start putting some pressure on with the J-Light Ranger. All right, so we're going to go and swing in with one attacker. If they do double block on this one, we've got it covered. We're going to be able to take care of both creatures, so I like this attack. And just going to take care of Gutter Bones. We're going to see old Gutter Bones and Diregraph Ghoul. They're going to trade. Boop, boop. We're going to lose J-Light Ranger. And now we are on for Carnage Tyrant swinging in. The good thing with Carnage Tyrant is it has trample. So with that 7/6, they get down Gutter Bones, they get down something. Oh, Detection Tower. Feels like I was playing Commander for a second. But yeah, they get down Detention Tower. Do they have some spot removal? It's like they were holding on to it for Carnage Tyrant. Oh, they do. All right. Well, we've got super secret backup Carnage Tyrant coming to the rescue, and we finally hit a blue source. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what makes Magic fun sometimes, is little interactions like that. So let's go for super secret backup Carnage Tyrant. Next turn, that's going to allow us to get down E-Honda's Climb. And since there's nothing else to do, we're going to get the Lano War Elves swinging in to shank our opponent with 2. There we go. Put them down to 16. And then hopefully we can keep the board clear. Now, one of the good things about Honda's Climb is that whenever we get it down, we can get that +1 counter. And then once it flips, making Carnage Tyrant an 8, 7, or a 9. Uh-oh. Spawn of Mayhem. Okay. So we go for Honda's Climb. Yeah, because I think we can outrace our opponent. We'll put the +1 counter on Carnage Tyrant. And we're just going to send in Carnage Tyrant. 1 attacker. That's going to be an 8-7. We'll probably see Stitcher. Or actually, yeah, if they wanted to get a few cards in the graveyard, they could. So we 1 damage, puts us down to 11. And then they get a +1 counter on Spawn of Mayhem. So that will be a 5-5 that will put us down to 6. But unfortunately with Honda's Climb, we're not going to be able to get to flip just yet. So we'll see what we can do. Thankfully with that +1 counter, at least double +1 counters. No, it's a legendary enchantment. So with Honda's Climb, that's going to make it a 9-6. With Trample, that's going to be pretty hard to deal with. They're going to have to get some stuff moving. So, and then if they swing you a Spawn of Mayhem, they can't get old Gutter Bones out of the graveyard. Even then, Gutter Bones enters the battlefield tapped. They can go for the -3 to cast some zombies. They've got some pretty good spread of zombies, but thankfully most of their zombies are just enter the battlefield tapped creatures. So I guess they could technically go for Stitcher Supplier. Or what just happened? I had that pulled up. We'll see what they're going for. But yeah. Okay, they're going to go for the +3 ability. At least one is a zombie card, and that will put them to where they're tapped out, basically. All they have is Detention Tower. So if we rip into some sort of spot removal, or Hydroid Krasis. I like that. So we go Hydroid Krasis. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll allow us to gain some life and stop Spawn of Mayhem and draw a ton of cards. Yeah, let's just tap out for a big Spawn of... Actually, do you want to swing with Carnage Tyrant first? Yeah, I think we do. All right, so let's get the +1 counter on Carnage Tyrant. And then if we swing in with double Lana War Elves, that's going to be 1, 2... Because we'll see Spawn of Mayhem block when that leaves us open. Yeah, I think we just swing in with the entire crew. Because that's going to be Trample, so that kind of forces the Spawn of Mayhem on Carnage Tyrant. That's going to allow us to get into 4. This allows us to get in for 6. That'll take care of it. They've only got Detention Tower on the battlefield at this point right now. So we're basically going to swing in at our opponent. And once we get down Krasis on the back end, we can at least draw 2 cards and gain a little bit extra life. So, and this is perfect for us. Yes. Had that damage trample over, it's going to put them down to 4. It's going to clear the way. And then we're going to tap out for a Hydroid Krasis for 4. There we go. And then make the land drop for the turn, and then we'll go and pass the turn. So thankfully with Hydroid Krasis for 4, that's going to turn E-Honda into an activated ability where we can get it flying. Basically at this point, we're just going to give Carnage Tyrant flying +X+X. It has Trample and Hexproof, so even if they do get down their entire playset of the demons, we're still going to be able to, well, unless they go for the activated, let's see, what do they rip into with, they got Murder on Carnage Tyrant, but with them tapped out, that's going to be Hydroid Krasis in the air, so I will take that. Good game. Good game to our opponent. It's always good when people throw the good game up. Oh, I was wanting to get the attack to work towards some of our steps, but anyway, that happens. Anyway, get the win on this one. That's definitely a good way to get the win. And we got to cash in our reward. And let's see, so we're still sitting at 2 losses. We still working our way down the line. So I will see you in the next game. Welcome to Game 5. We've got Tezzeret versus Tezzeret. Spider-Man meme where they point at each other. I get really excited when we have the same avatar. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. We've got Woodland Cemetery. Yeah, I like this hand. This is pretty much what we want to see. We've got our colored sources with Watery Grave and Woodland Cemetery, and then Lana War Elves is a wonderful way for us to kind of get the game going. Now, the only downside is we don't have a turn one play for Lana War Elves, so let's go ahead and lead off with. Actually, we'll lead off with. If we go, well, either way, technically, if we lead off with the green source, we can't go double Lana War Elves because it's going to enter the battlefield tapped anyway. So let's go and lead off with Watery Grave. It's going to enter the battlefield tapped, and then we'll go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yes, that last mono black match, that was pretty cool. I like our opponent's deck. I definitely need to build a deck around the demon because, I don't know, I've always enjoyed demons in Magic. They're a pretty cool little lore. Now, we do have Assassin's Trophy. I just don't want to get dinked all day by Miscloaked Herald and them drawing a ton of cards. So let's get down Woodland Cemetery. And that'll put us open for Assassin's Trophy. So we'll go for that. What we can do is they've got 5 cards in hand. They might have Spell Pierce, possibly. They might have Quench too. So I think we just go for Assassin's Trophy right now on Herald. Yeah, let's go and go for that. That's going to give them an additional land. I'm not wild about that, but we do have Lana War Elves next turn. We get down Harbor. We can bounce back on mana. Then we can go for really nice Krasis. It is a triggered ability once we cast Krasis. So main thing is we just did not want to get hit with that Curious Obsession turn after turn. That's not going to be good for us at all. So we'll go and lead off with Lana War Elves. Get another Lana War Elves down. You always want to have 2 of them on the battlefield so they can be happy together. Get down another Lana War Elves. And then, yeah, we'll go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. So, oh, there we go. Kick it back over there. We're good. No, nothing else for us to do. Oh, excuse me, we could have gone for Incubation. I forgot that was blue. I was thinking it was green. Dang it. Sorry about that. That is definitely a misplay on my part. So we could have gone for Incubation, been the most efficient with our mana last turn, but... yeah, just in my head, I was thinking it was green. I forgot it was the little blue part right there. So that, unfortunately, mistakes happen. This is game 5, and I've been recording for about an hour now. So, well, not gonna lie, a little tired. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be a Hydroid Krasis for 4. I think that sounds like a good plan. Let's get in. Going to go ahead and pay 2 life on this one. Let's go for Hydroid Krasis for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this just never gets old. So at least, very worst case scenario, if our opponent has a counter spell, we're going to get to draw some life. Not draw some life. We get to draw cards and gain some life. There we go. So it kind of replaces itself. And then next turn we can go for another Hydroid Krasis. But at this point, we might want to kind of build up Lana War Elves Breeding Pool and then Incubation. So we'll try to keep this Krasis action going because it's just I love Sultai. I love Sultai decks, and I love being able to draw cards and get a big weird creature on the battlefield. And this is everything that this deck wants to do. So our opponent's going to get down Chart of Course. It's going to allow them to draw a couple cards off of that Night Veil. And then we get into another super secret Lana War Elves. Yeah, I think at this point we just kind of go hog wild. Let's yeah, let's do it. Let's go for Merfolk Branchwalker. See if we can't hit another land for the turn. It's going to get the Explore ability. Yeah, we'll put that on top. I like that a lot. That's a good way for us to clean up a lot of these little creatures. Let's go and shock in Breeding Pool. We're going to pay 2 life. Let's go for Lana War Elves. And we've got our full playset of Lana War Elves on the battlefield. And this feels good. Let's go for Incubation. Actually, do we want to hold on to Exile Target Creature for 3/3? Yeah, I think that would be the better thing to do. We've got a ton of mana at this point right now. We even have open Lana War Elf. So let's just go and hold on to it. So no attacks from us, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. Not really super wild about giving our opponent a 3/3 green frog creature, but yeah, we might end up doing that if they end up getting curious onto Night Veil Sprite. So, all right, they're going to swing it with Night Veil. That's going to, and let's kind of get some Hydroid Krasis math going. That's going to be 1, 2. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah, I like that. All right, so they're going to be swinging in for 1. That's going to knock us down to 13, and that is a Charter Course. Yep, that's Seems about right. And we'll see what else they get down, and hopefully if they tap out, that would be really nice. But if they don't, like I mentioned, we can still get down Hydroid Krasis. Worst case scenario, we've got fine to return double Krasises back to our hand, just rinse and repeat, and get some life gain going. So that's exactly what this deck wants to do. All right, they're going to pass it back over to our turn. And then we draw into that. So let's go for just tap out for big Krasis. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to be 7. So let's go 7. Oh, look at that. Let's get the card draw going. All right, so they go for Wizard's Retort, but we end up cashing in some card draws, so I'll take that. We'll get down Harbor. Actually, we'll get down Overgrown Tomb. Have an Enter the Battlefield tapped. And then, yeah, I guess we're just going to go and start swinging in on this one. Swing in for 1. Now, the only downside about us kind of banking on this find out of the graveyard is that we've seen a ton of counter spells. We're playing its mono blue counters. You know, it's put Curious Obsession on an unblockable creature and just go ham with a card advantage. So at this point, if we're banking on a find, we'll still end up probably going for it. I don't mind doing that. And then we can always follow it up with something like... Ooh, Honda's Climb. Okay, so let's get down Harbor. And we kind of want Incubation. So at this point right now, Incubation is our only way to kind of deal with this Tempest. So let's go for Find out of the graveyard. Return the Krasises out of our graveyard. 1, 2. And we'll see if this rips out a counterspell. If it does, we might end up going for... the exile effect on the Tempest Gen. Okay, so that will bring out Wizard's Retort. Let's go ahead and go for exile target creature. So with them tapped down on mana, that's going to give them a 3/3 frog. Now, it's not the best, but we can deal with it, and that's the important thing. Let's get down E-Honda. And then we'll get a +1 counter onto Merfolk Branchwalker. Yeah, let's just go and push in with the 4/3. If they want to trade with that frog token, that's fine. And then we're still going to be able to untap with a lot of action stuff too. So, yep, that's fine with me. We could wait to get a few more counters on there, but we can also start putting some counters on some of our Lana War Elves. So now at this point right now, they've got Nightville Sprite. They've got a lot of, probably a lot of counters in their actual hand. So at this point right now, if we can get some sort of card advantage, maybe find another way to, Tempest and then Siren Storm Tamer. Okay, and then we draw into Wild Growth Walker. Yeah, let's go for it. Uh-oh. Looks like we might have a clock on our opponent's side of the battlefield. But you can see on Arena, you built this mono blue deck that probably doesn't cost that much at all, and how fun it is, how quick they can dig through their library. Anything else? No, we're going to go ahead and pass the turn. Let's go and put a +1 counter on Wild Growth Walker, and then no swing in from our Lana War Elves in the turn. Now, we are holding on to Harbor simply because in a control matchup like this, I want our opponent to think, maybe they have some sort of counter spell. I mean, at this point, we have more than enough mana between Lana War Elves and all of our lands on the battlefield, so in a game like this, I like to hold on to it, but at this point right now, it's probably not going to matter too much. All right. And then they have the Warkite Marauder. So we've got double lands in our hand. And that is going to be a good game from our opponent. Yeah. So we get this down. Have it enter tapped. But we're going to put a +1 counter on Wild Growth Walker. But there's not much we can do about it. Yeah, because they're at 17. There's got 7 in the air. Can't stop them. So good game to our opponent. They were able to stop the Krasis onslaught. You can see how quick we get off to a really good start with a lot of this... like entire playset of Lana War Elves on the battlefield, but sometimes that happens. So, okay, I'm gonna get the Surveil 1, and that's gonna allow them to knock us all the way down to -6. So, good game to our opponent. I think that's gonna end our. Run through the constructed queue, which is not too bad. I think we ended up at 500. I think, and we're gonna claim our prize. So we get 400 coins. Let's see what the card is. Knight of the Last Breath, Dragon Egg, and Glaive of the Guild Pack. So. We're going to claim those prizes. That's going to be it for the Sultai video. Be on the lookout. I've got the Ram Gate deck on the way, which is a lot of fun. Can't wait to do that. And we saw a lot of cool decks today, too, so you might be seeing some of those in the near future. But if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.